Hey, so welcome to the Digital Ecommerce Podcast, the ultimate destination for the e-commerce brand builders. I'm your host, Dylan, and we're here to navigate the ever-evolving world of e-commerce together. Each episode, we bring you the insight and stories from industry leaders, successful entrepreneur and innovator who are shaping in the future of the online retail. Whether you're just starting out or looking to scale your brand to a new height, our goal is to learn and grow alongside you. Today, we have our very special guest with us, Nathan, the CEO at EcomBalance, it's known as, selling his FreeUp business. Nathan, we are thrilled to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Dylan, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thanks for asking. I'm in the UK. Where do you base right now?
I'm in Denver, Colorado. What about you?
Colorado, in the UK, Birmingham. It's like quite far away from the other world, right?
Right.
Right. How about Nathan, like if you just can give us an introduction about how you originally become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I started selling on Amazon when I was in college. I kind of just stumbled across it 2008, 2009. I was buying and selling textbooks, competing with my college bookstore, and I started experimenting with what else I could sell on Amazon. And I came across baby products and toys and started building relationships with different US manufacturers. And I was drop shipping before I even knew it was drop shipping, all from US people. And this business grew. I sold 25 million over a 6-7 year period. I ended up being building a freelance marketplace for e-commerce sellers. And that was called FreeUp. And we were probably one of the first people to offer like PPC and e-commerce writers and stuff like that. That business scaled, grew it to about 12 million. It was acquired in 2019. And now I run a portfolio of different businesses. I have a hiring company, an SEO service, but the one that's most relevant is EcomBalance, my monthly bookkeeping service for e-commerce sellers. Bookkeeping has always been a big part of what we've done, both in decision-making, but also being able to pass due diligence and sell a company. So love just building businesses, love being in the e-commerce space and helping e-commerce sellers however I can.
That is so intriguing, the story. I'm sure that like because I started e-commerce like back in 2015, and then I heard FreeUp a lot back in the days, and that was just like alongside when I was like selling on Amazon and eBay, So how do you get FreeUp off the ground? Like, what was the catalyst of it?
Yeah, so I mean, we had all these great VAs and freelancers from our Amazon business, and when Amazon got harder, there was more competition, and manufacturers were just selling directly on Amazon themselves. We took these Amazon VAs and started talking to e-commerce sellers and just offering it to different people. And that people really liked the service. They kept asking for more. They kept putting in requests, and we eventually built a software behind it. So it was kind of this experiment of giving all these e-commerce VAs we had to these e-commerce sellers who were struggling to find them on Upwork and Fiverr, and that blossomed into its own business.
Right. Okay. I can see that there's two kind of like hiring talent right now. It's either going to Upwork, Fiverr, or FreeUp, or they would rather just go for like outsourcing company. Can you tell us the differences? What is where should people go at what stage?
Yeah, so there's really three options when you're going to hire a VA or a freelancer, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's more pros and cons. So you can hire people directly. You can hire people through a marketplace like FreeUp, Upwork, Fiverr, or you can use an agency. There's lots of different Amazon agencies out there. So with hiring direct, you want to make sure that you really do your due diligence, because there's no one to protect you if something goes wrong. If you hire a VA from a Facebook group, for example, you might get the best rate because you don't have to pay marketplace or agency fees. But if that VA disappears or something, you're kind of out of luck. So really check references, get emergency contact information. That's kind of the pros and cons there. For the marketplace, you can see reviews online. The downside is you pay a marketplace fee. If you use a platform like FreeUp, they protect you if someone quits or something like that. And from the flip side, if you hire an agency, you're paying the top rates. And the beauty of the agency is they have their own SOPs, their own processes. But the downside is you're only as good as the agency. If that agency struggles to retain people, if that agency doesn't treat people well or has turnover or isn't organized, that's going to hurt you, even if you do everything right. So there's no like right or wrong way. It's just, hey, do you want the cheapest price, but all the risks of hiring directly? Do you want that middle ground of the marketplace, or do you want that self-managed service where you hire an agency?
That's right. I remember clearly, back in the days, like a VA that is cost more than 1,000. It means that they can perform critical thinking tasks or data analytics. Otherwise, VA that is lower than 1,000, they are more of like a VA that can only do things that is repetitive or more of following the SOP. So to you, Nathan, when it comes to hiring online, what is the difference between a follower, doer, and an expert?
Yeah. So, I mean, followers, like you said, is someone who's there to follow your systems, your processes. They might have years of experience, but they're there to follow your SOPs. If you don't know how to do it, you can't hire a VA. From there, you got the freelancers. They're more the creatives, usually graphic designers, writers, etc. But you're not teaching them how to be a graphic designer, but they're not consulting with you either. They're there to do that one particular task and do it at a high level. And you're usually hiring them project-based, fixed price. And then you got the experts, the consultants, experts, agencies. They're coming out with their own system, their own process. You can't master everything as an entrepreneur. So a lot of times you need someone to come in with that experience to hit the ground running. And again, you're not training them, you're hiring them for their expertise. So again, there's no right or wrong, but you want to make sure that you know what level you need. You can run into a lot of issues if you really need a doer, but you hire a follower, or you hire an expert, but you try to get them to follow your process. So making sure you understand those three levels and you really decide up front what level you need is a great way to learn how to hire.
Cool. That's a very good advice. What would you say as in like a ecom brand builder? Like, what's the best first hire that they should dedicate the task to?
So I'm biased because I own a bookkeeping business, but even before that, bookkeeper is the first thing I hire for any company. Most entrepreneurs are not good at bookkeeping. Every time I've seen an entrepreneur or a seller do their own bookkeeping, it just needs to be redone later. E-commerce bookkeeping is complicated. You waste a lot of time trying to take a QuickBooks Online course. One of the best decisions I ever made with FreeUp was hiring that bookkeeper from day one. And not only were we able to make really good decisions each month, but down the line, when we went to sell it, we had 4 years of immaculate books, which helped us pass due diligence. So hire that bookkeeper from day one, take it off your plate. You don't need to log into QuickBooks. You do need to learn how to read an income statement, a balance sheet, and a cash flow. And you need someone with a good monthly process that can get it to you every single month.
I agree with that because as an entrepreneur, like a beginner, I believe you should do everything by yourself to learn about the business. Whereas like bookkeeping is so time consuming that like you know how to do it, but then like if you don't have someone to give you those kind of like data, then you cannot make an informal decision. So knowing the business and knowing the numbers is equally important, but you cannot have both. That's why you have to be the one who know the business and then have someone else to help you know the numbers.
If you're starting your e-commerce journey, we've got the perfect service for you. We specialize in product research to help you find the right winning products for your store. And if you're interested in dropshipping, we offer an all-in-one service for under $30. From website creation to importing products, we get your store up and running in no time. Interested? Visit our website or click the link in the description box to get started. Let's make your e-commerce dreams a reality.
When it comes to hiring, like lately, I've been seeing people hiring from Malaysia or India or Pakistan is more popular lately. Filipino is always the go-to choice from the past. So how do you see the landscape lately?
I love hiring from the Philippines. I mean, at this point, I just have so many people that I know from the Philippines. It makes it easy. And I mean, everything from consuming the same culture to speaking English to working our time zone, I just think it's a great place to start. And the last thing you want to do is hire like 2 people from India, 2 people from Pakistan, 2 people from the Philippines, if you've never really hired a lot before, because you're just adding a lot of work to your plate. They have different cultures. They have different communication styles. They work different times. So you're just adding a lot of extra work to your plate. So try to hire from one place. And if you're to start, and you can always add down the line. And if you're going to hire your first VA, hire for the Philippines is a great place to start.
Exactly. I mean, so far, like we didn't find any success working with Pakistan or India because they will follow what you say. Whereas like the Indian or Pakistan, the culture-wise is just like maybe over-promising sometimes, So, I guess like it takes time for everyone to get to the same level in order to have this cross-culture a VA. I've seen that people have like a dedicated project manager to solve that cross-culture problem. Do you think that's worth it to have someone else to come in to have a cross-culture team?
Yeah, I mean, it can be worth it. There's lots of benefits of diversification and just diversity in general. We have like our SEO company. We've got people from all over the world, and it's great. So you just have to really know what you're doing. It's part of why we launched Outsource School, where we teach you how to hire. If you know how to hire well, then you get access to talent all over the world. If you don't know how to hire well, you want to put yourself in position to succeed or not mess up. So sticking with one place is usually the better way to go.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about full-time, part-time, and freelancer. Let's separate into two stages. One would be the beginners, and one would be the intermediate. Let's say like if a company have a size that is more than 20 people right now, what do you think the dynamic of the model? Should they have more full-time than part-time than freelancer, or what do you think?
I personally like to hire people full-time and exclusive to me. I don't want them splitting their time between someone else. I want them 100% focused on growing my company. Not everyone can afford that. If you can, hiring people part-time is fine, but there's always a risk if you and I both hire the same person 20 hours a week, maybe you want them and you offer them a full-time job down the line, and all the effort I put into training them goes out the window. So I like to hire full-time exclusive. That should be your default or your ultimate goal to get to. But if not, hiring part-time is fine. If you're going to hire freelancers, that's a little bit different. You want to set really good expectations. If you hire someone to build a 20-page website, don't have them do 20 pages and then get feedback. Have them do 1 page at a time. Have them prove they can handle feedback, handle revisions, and it's a little different of a process. But I think there's a lot of benefits to hire people full-time and exclusive. And even me, I have different companies. I try to hire people full-time and exclusive for each company. I don't want them splitting their time between different companies, because the more you split people up, the worse they usually do at the task. And even with tasks, like I try to keep people focused on one thing if possible, and try not to give them like 5 different things to do, because they won't do all 5 at the highest possible level.
When it comes to like measuring a performance of a particular employee, freelancer, or maybe a part-time or full-time, we have seen both like measure what's matters using KPI or using like OKR, or maybe using Traction's the EOS system. What do you think is the most effective when it comes to the e-commerce world? Because those books that they talk about is not dedicated to e-commerce. They are more of like corporate culture. So when it comes to e-commerce, how do you integrate their concept into like our systems?
I take bits and pieces of it. I don't do full-blown EOS. I know a lot of people swear by it, and that's great. Whatever kind of works for you. But I like to kind of come up with my own system that I run for my different businesses. But I think the fundamentals of that are great. Like each person has a goal. They have something they're focused on. You're measuring it. It gives you a clean process on how to get someone out of your business if they're not a good fit. So I like it. I've never implemented it 100%, but I've definitely taken pieces of it. And part of that, like we teach at Outsource School, our method of hiring people and putting people in the right roles.
Yeah. Okay. So that's about the outsourcing part when it comes to having a VA. Let's talk about your other business. Do you have like EcomBalance? Do you have like a Trio SEO? Like what's that about? Would you mind talking about that, please?
Yeah, EcomBalance is for e-commerce sellers, and we have another company, AccountsBalance, that's for service providers or service-based online businesses. But we do monthly bookkeeping. Charge you on the 1st, books by the 15th each month. If you go to EcomBalance.com/report, you can see what a monthly report looks like from us. And we take bookkeeping off your plate. We speak seller, we speak entrepreneur. Everything we do is designed to be as efficient as possible for you and to let you make great decisions. And having clean books has other benefits too. Tax season less stressful. It helps you get funding, investments, sell your company down the line. So our goal is to make bookkeeping as easy as possible for you. And with True SEO, it's all about driving traffic to your website. We do really high level SEO strategies, publishing high quality blog content. We take over your blog and run it for you and drive really good leads via Google. So yeah, that's really what we're all about.
Good. Tell me, like, what are the books that you recommend for different stage of entrepreneurship when it comes to beginners, people who already scale to 6 figures, and then people who scale to 7 figures? How would you, if you give one book each to our audience, which one would you pick?
Yeah, so there's a great book by Joe Valley. He's been in the e-commerce brokering space for a while called Exitpreneur, the Exitpreneur Playbook, I believe. And check it out. It teaches you how to build an e-commerce business that's sellable from day one. It tells you what people look for when they're going to acquire businesses. And this is super helpful. When we sold FreeUp, we knew very little about the process and we learned a lot, but this book really lays it out there. And just reading the book after going through a sale, I know that he's right on the money. And I mean, I don't even know how many different deals that he's done. So check out that book if you're an e-commerce seller, and it's going to help you set up your business correctly from day one.
How about for 6 figures seller?
Yeah, I mean, 4-Hour Workweek is a classic. It's how I started. It's how I learned how to hire and delegate, and you can't go wrong there.
And how about for a 7-figure seller?
Yeah, 7-figure seller. We actually have a book called FreeUp Your Business. It's a classic. We wrote this years ago, but it kind of shows people how we grow businesses, and I recommend checking that out.
Right, that's good. Thanks for that. So you have been doing like a business exit on FreeUp already. The reason why we started a business, we start like e-commerce or we started like real estate, is all because like a lot of our audience want to start finding our like first bucket of capital or try to find passive income. At your level right now, you've done the exit, you created multiple company. Is there any fishing that you think that is different than back in the days when you first started? Like
any fishing?
Yeah, like in Gymshark, they work with angel investor. Some people decide to sell the brand. Like after all those experience that you have done, what do you think separate between people who are struggling that is lower 7 figures and then that can went past to 8 figures? Like what's the break point that you advise?
I like hiring an operator from day one. I'm not a fulfillment of all my businesses. I'm not a bookkeeper, so I couldn't do bookkeeping if I wanted to. So hiring people that can run the fulfillment from day one is key for me. And that lets you focus on high level stuff, strategy, acquisition, sales, marketing channels. That's where you should be focused as an entrepreneur and out of fulfillment. And it kind of forces you to learn how to delegate it and take stuff off your plate. So that's kind of my advice is find those really good operators, people with high values, people who have been there before. That's my recommendation.
How do you find a good operational manager? Is that the good operational manager?
There's no right way. You can find them on ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, referrals, job boards. Like for me, it's all about networking and just putting it out there what you're looking for and what your ideas are, and finding someone who wants to buy in and be a part of something.
That's one area that I have to say I'm not excel at. Like I have been finding several operations manager in the past, and then as an e-com business, it's just so complicated because you have to have like SEO, media buying, designer team, and then we have like outreach team as well. The problem here is like having a operation manager connect things together is just hard, So when the operation manager comes into the business, what are the things that you think they should be focusing on?
Yeah, I mean, diversity of marketing channels, recurring revenue, repeat customers if you're in e-commerce, really knowing your margins, knowing where is worth your time and your effort. Those are all things that I think e-commerce sellers struggle with. And there's so many shiny objects. There's TikTok Shop, there's Walmart, there's Amazon US, Canada, Japan. Like you got to know where does it actually make sense to spend your time. And that's where I think a lot of e-commerce sellers struggle.
I mean, it's been so insightful, Nathan. If someone to reach out to you, where should they find you?
Yeah, NathanHirsch.com or Nathan Hirsch on any social media channel. If you're looking for monthly bookkeeping, go to EcomBalance.com and would love to work with you.
Cool. Thanks for that. That's it for today. If you guys want to reach out to Nathan, we'll just put the link in the show notes. Thank you for that, Nathan.
Have a good rest of the day. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.